Hello, 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 everyone tuned in right now, or people that are about to tune in. People are going to watch this full video. My name is Aanchal Vash. I am the CEO and founder at Reach Out Together Foundation, a Canadian mental health awareness company dedicated to empowering you to go seek professional help and other supports. Today, we are hosting season two's very first episode with the one and only Natalie Susi, based out of California. I'm so excited to have you on board, Natalie, and for us to have this discussion to break stigma and encourage outreach.
Wow.
So, welcome to season two, episode one.
Thank you so much for having me. You have beautiful energy. I'm so grateful to be here. I was really honored and excited when you guys suggested a conversation today, and really blessed to be here. I love what you guys are doing on this planet.
Oh, thank you so much, Lab. We really, really appreciate it. Could you please share with our audience a little bit about yourself, professional experience, your background, and what brought you here today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll make a very long story as short as possible. Like in a nutshell, I'm, a teacher by trade and by heart, as cliche as that may sound. That's what I'm here to do on the planet. I was teaching in California. I was laid off in the budget cuts. I started a business in the food and beverage industry because I'd always been curious about business. I sold that company after, wearing all the hats and a lot of trials and tribulations, learning all the hard lessons over 8 years. In 2014. And then I came back to teaching, and I paired my entrepreneurial background and my education background into coaching and consulting around this idea of happiness and how do we get through our triggers, our patterns, our stuck points in order to create and manifest this beautiful, fulfilling life that we're looking to be in and be present in. And inside of that whole journey, I went through a really challenging breakup, 3 breakups. I'm 37. I've spent half my 30s single and half my 30s in relationships. And I went through a challenging breakup when I turned 30, that sort of took me down this really long spiritual personal development rabbit hole. And in that same, as it pertains to like your audience, in that same year, I had just gone off of an antidepressant that I was on for 12 years. So I had my first episode of being very sad as a teenager. Doctors put me on an antidepressant, and I was too afraid to go off of it. So I was on that for 12 years. And then I went off of it and had some like pretty serious breakdowns over like adjusting my body. And then also went through a breakup, which sort of caused me to have many breakthroughs. So I say, like, what is the breakthrough in the breakdown? So that's what I teach on the planet. I'm a UCSD professor. I teach writing and communications course called The Pursuit of Happiness. And I coach and consult executives around bridging gaps in communication so their teams can be happier and more aligned and mission-based and all of that good stuff. So it's as short as I can make a very long story, 14-year journey.
That was amazing. Before I forget, could you please let the audience know if they are to find you, reach out to you, what's the best way to do so?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can just find me at my name, Natalie Susi, SUSI.com. And I'm also by the same name on Instagram. And I have a 24/7 running story of spiritual quotes and personal development, like motivational stuff that I have running all day. So I would say Instagram is the best spot. So at Natalie Susi.
Oh my God, Natalie, you're so incredible. I'm so excited to really dive into this discussion a bit more. What I love to hear is from, incredible community leaders like you, is how did you find that strength, that inspiration within, that motivation within to go to stand for yourself and be like, hey, this isn't working out. I need help. Or there's something out there that can help me feel slightly better, right? How did you find that motivation to up level your own quality of life?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. So the thing that I think is really important for everybody to understand, I want to get grounded when I really share this with you guys, have both feet on the floor, is that
Yeah.
we live in, so if you are listening to this and you are in a state where you're like, I'm listening to this because I'm curious about when I'm feeling these moments, or I'm in one of these challenging moments and I really don't know what I'm doing here, and you've stumbled into this synchronistically, magically, basically, right? Everybody that's listening is supposed to be here right now, and that you're here for a reason. I want to really hear, I would love if you could really hear this, because this is what really helps me. So we live in a universe that abides by the law of duality. And what the law of duality basically states is that there is light and dark and love and fear and rich and poor, and everything is two sides of the same coin, and you can't have one without the other. So what that means is that if you're in a dark place, what I now call a cocoon moment, okay, when you're having a cocoon moment, you're in a dark, uncomfortable, dreary, challenging place that you don't feel like you can get out of, it is actually just a cocoon moment. What that means is that this is just a moment in time. This is a dark moment in time, and it will open up. And there is light, actual light on the other side, because we live in a universe that abides by the law of duality. And the law of duality is like the law of gravity. It just is what it is. And we don't teach it that much. And we don't know that. We don't understand that until you start to really like study spirituality and go down that rabbit hole. But if you can just go like, okay, I'm just having a dark moment right now. I'm just having a cocoon moment right now. And that's actually going to lead me to the next ascension moment, the next bright moment, because we have to, because light and dark are two sides of the same coin. You can kind of move through it quicker. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So for me, it's all about, I call this like, what is your cocoon? When I coach clients, I go like, what is your cocoon process and what is your cocoon timing? And I actually work with clients around their depressive moments. Let's talk about what does that look and sound and feel like to you when you're in one of those moments? And what is the process? Everything is about a process. What is the process that you have to put in place in order to move through one of those moments? So that when you're in it, you can be like, oh, I acknowledge it. It's not a blind spot. I acknowledge it. It's right in front of me. I'm having one of those moments. I can feel it in my body. I can feel it the way my thoughts are racing. I can feel it the way the lens that I'm looking at life through is right now. Okay, fine. I accept it. I trust, I surrender. I'm just in one of those moments. It's just one of those moments right now. Now, what is my process for moving through that cocoon moment? So for me, what that looks like, and then I'll be quiet because I'm talking. Just, do you want to I'll stop for a moment. Do you have anything you want to add to that before I keep chatting or I keep talking?
No, I want to know more. It sounds incredible.
Okay, sometimes I go down the rabbit hole with this stuff and then I don't stop for air. So I just wanted to be conscious.
No, I resonate with that. I love to share what I know. So please go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So when I'm in one of those moments, the first step one is just accepting, trusting, and surrendering. Going, okay, this is just a moment in time. This is just a cocoon moment. I used to call these moments ditch moments. And I used to say, it's like you're in a ditch and you don't know how deep it is, and you don't know how dark it is, and you don't know how you're ever going to get out of it. But then one day you just stand up and you go, I need to stand up and step out of it. So whatever resonates with you, cocoon, ditch moment, whatever, but I think it helps to label it. So you identify it as step one. You identify this is just a moment in time. You come up with phrases and mantras that work for you. So see, I'm sitting here with this behind me very intentionally because these are my mantras: magic, trust, love, 24/7, right? So you come up with your own statements, and you can use mine if you want. This is just a moment in time. This is just a cocoon moment. So you're identifying it, you're labeling it, you're stating, you're giving it a title, okay? Because people can deal with that kind of label. And then you go, what's my process for getting through this moment? When was I here before and what did I do then? And if you've never been there before, you go, okay, great. Now it's time for me to figure that out. Do I need to find a coach? Do I need to find a therapist? Can I do this on my own, or do I need support? Usually you need support, right? The first time around. Do I need to just breathe right now? Like, where am I feeling it in my body? Meditation, like all these things that we hear over and over and over again that we're like tired of hearing, or that we can't even fathom would work when we're in a ditch moment or a cocoon moment. They're real. Yeah. All the gurus over thousands of years say the same things because they work.
Yeah.
Right. So when I teach the pursuit of happiness at UCSD, I say this to my students all the time. I say, all the gurus over thousands of years say the same 10 things. Here's where they are. This is why everybody's telling us to meditate, because when you meditate, you get your thoughts, your speech, and your feelings in alignment, and you make that energetic bubble around you what we call coherent, right? And I can go down that rabbit hole too. I'll say it very briefly. Is like, you know, if you are listening to this and you are looking for something that's more science-based and not spiritual, because I bridge the gap in both of those areas, and the people I follow are very science-based, I will share this. So we're made up of atoms, right? And atoms are 99% energy and 1% matter. For whatever reason, we just talk about the 1% matter, but we are made up of energy. We are totally made up of energy, right? And so that's why you want to get your thoughts and your speech and your feelings in alignment, because we have this 6-foot bubble around us. Some people call it our aura. Some people call it our biofield. Some people call it your energetic field. We have this 6-foot bubble around you. And the bubble, that bubble around you, when your thoughts and your feelings and your speech are out of alignment, when they don't all match and you're stressed in your body, that energetic bubble feels wavy. It's like this, that 6-foot bubble. But when you are calm and coherent, what we call coherent, thoughts, speech, and feelings are all in alignment, that bubble is calm. So this is when you're around people that are like, when you're around people and you're like, oh, that person's like having a bad day, or I don't really want to talk to them, or you can feel it, because we all have this 6-foot bubble around us that we can feel, right? Makes sense? Does all that make sense? I just went way down the rabbit hole, guys. I hope that all made sense.
Yes, it does. I love it. I love it. I do want to share with the audience as well that when I was doing a bit of research, I came across an educational post of yours that was so amazing to read. That's why I wanted to encourage each of you to go follow Natalie right now, because she's providing some really valuable content that does make a difference in real time. When you're not feeling well, things like this, it just instantly changes your energy, right? So go follow people that actually help raise your vibration. And I once again recommend Natalie to please go follow Natalie. One thing that you talked about, getting to that I think it was a full moon night, and you were trying to explain the difference. And you mentioned 3 things that people should do. And I just wanted to bring that to light. I think the first was, I release this thing. So think about, what is this thing that's holding you back or not making you feel good? So you think about, what is that thing that you want to release, let go. So I release this thing. The second was, I up level to this thing. I up level to this thing. And the third was, I choose to not repeat this thing.
Wow, you really.
And I found it was amazing. Could you please shed some light on that?
Oh yeah, thank you. That was a brilliant, so when I come up with some of this, sometimes it just comes through you, right? I'm sure you know this stuff too. Like, I can't even take credit for that. I so appreciate you remembering it and reading it and calling it out. And it's an amalgamation of like all the people who have taught me, right? But essentially what that post was saying was, so I use the full moon and the new moon because they are consistent cycles and they do affect our body. The moon affects our body. The moon affects water. It affects lots of things in our planet, and we're one with the planet, right? So it makes sense to me to connect with those 2 moments. But if it feels a little woo-woo to you, you can just say, those are 2 moments during the month where you could do a personal development exercise for yourself. And that's kind of how I look at it and talk to my clients about it. It's just markers for personal development. So essentially what I was trying to say in that post is that, so there is a book that I highly recommend to everybody here. It's called Journey of the Souls. And Journey of the Souls basically says that we are all a soul and a body, and we're here for a purpose. And that, if you can imagine, we call it like the school of life for a reason. So we're here in this body, in this school for life. Okay. And each of us has a soul purpose and a soul journey to get to that purpose. So it's almost like each of us has like a PhD, or if you want to put it in like education terms, we all have a PhD that we're supposed to get based on who we are on the planet and our soul and our purpose on this planet. And we have certain teachers that teach us those lessons to get us to that purpose, right? Just like school. And some of those teachers are painful teachers, and some of those teachers are peaceful teachers, But we get these lessons and we get these teachers, and they're all just part of the journey to getting that PhD and that purpose. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
love that.
so I love this analogy because I'm a teacher, so it totally resonates with me and my students. It makes sense to me, and I'm happy to answer any questions to clarify. But inside of that, what I was doing in that post that you read was, once we have these lessons and we go, okay, and you can imagine, if you're listening to me, if you're listening to us right now, you can go, what is that like story or narrative or experience or person that I keep running into over and over again there? I'm just like, I'm so frustrated, or I'm so hurt, or I'm so angry. I'm so like, right? And you can like feel it constricted in the body. It's the thing that triggers you and makes you go from like 0 to 10. And you just can't imagine how you're in this situation again, right? You can see I'm getting like fired up now too, because I'm like imagining these situations for myself. We all have them. And it's the same thing that I said in the beginning of this call. It's coming back to that place where you accept. You're like, this is just a lesson on my soul journey. This is just a teacher on my soul journey. I can actually find gratitude for them. I don't need to understand and be angry as much. And it's a lesson that I have done enough. I have been to a couple different classrooms with a couple different teachers who have taught me this lesson over and over again, and I'm done with it. I don't need to learn it again. I have mastered it. Right? And I just go like this with my hands. And so full moons are all about release, and new moons are all about calling in. So on a full moon, I go, okay, what is a thing I want to release? What is a lesson that I want to release? And I write that down. And then I state to the universe, or to my higher self, or to my heart, my soul, my divine God, whatever you want to call it, I'm done learning this lesson. I've mastered it. I don't need to learn it anymore. Please move me to the next grade. Move me to the next class. I'm done with this lesson. And the thing that happens with that, it's very powerful to do this exercise. Things will start to shift. And you want to just be aware of that. Don't be scared of it. Just be aware that we are so powerful with our words, our thoughts, and our feelings when they're all in alignment. And when you sit down and you go, hey, I'm done with this lesson. I'm done with this lesson. I'm done with this lesson. You can really think and feel and speak and all those things. I'm done with this lesson. Universe moves to make that happen for you, which means it can pull certain people out of your life to create the space for new stuff to come in your life that's going to up level you. Right? So you have to graduate one class to move on to the next one. And you have to be okay with that. So release ceremonies are like this, they're very powerful. I always tell clients this. You can say, when you do the exercise, I request this in a clear and gentle way. So I request to learn and master and remove this lesson and move on to the next level in a clean, clear, gentle way. Make sense? Did that resonate?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm just reflecting. Please tell me you're writing a book, or you've written one.
You know what? I have not. I've heard it a couple of times. I appreciate you asking that. I will eventually.
Yeah, when the time's right, it's going to happen, and the world needs it.
I have two like small chapters in some books, but that's what it is for now. So
that's pretty good. That's a great start.
Yeah, thank you.
So what are those books called? Where can people find it?
You know what they're called? Actually, I'll show you. It's One Habit. So I should actually have this promoted, or sitting out more. This is an awesome book. It's called One Habit. It's compiled by this guy named Steve Semblis. And it's just, I have an excerpt, and in this book, it's about coming from a place of fear to love, like moving from love to fear to love. Sorry, from fear to love. Essentially what you can imagine, just moving from fear-based emotions to a love-based place. And it's what I just said in the last exercise. That's what you're doing in that exercise. You're going, I'm going to move from a place of anger, fear, frustration, resentment, and move to gratitude and love, understanding that what's in front of me, it's just part of the soul journey. And these are teachers and lessons I can be grateful for. And I'm just graduating. I'm just moving on to the next level.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that empowerment in that tone when you can say that out loud to yourself. I've learned my lesson. I want to graduate to the next class.
Graduate. And so, if people are sitting here and they're listening, they're like, God, I've just had this depressing day, or this frustrating, anxiety-ridden day for the 100th time. I'm so frustrated. I'm so sad. I'm so depressed. I'm so down. I can't move. I mean, I've been there. I have so been down that rabbit hole. I really get it. And it has been a huge practice over the last 7 years to navigate everything I'm sharing with you guys here. And I think it's really important to state that, because we teach best what we most need to learn. So the only reason I can teach this stuff and that I can share this stuff is because I've tried it 20 different ways on 20 different cocoon moments, really dark, stuff in moments of my life.
Oh my God, that was like a mic drop moment right there. I love it. I love it. Natalie, could you share with our audience, you've been through quite a bit. I think we all are, given the pandemic, it's a never ending really cycle, right? But we find tools and strategies that work for us.
Yep.
It's trial and error. Like you said, you had 20 different ways and you found certain strategies that work for you specifically.
Yep.
And that right there, what you do from that learning is mental health first aid. You have created a toolkit for yourself that works for you in times of distress when you're not feeling okay mentally, right?
Yes.
In order for you to continue to do the amazing work that you're doing, the impact you're making in the world. So if you don't mind sharing with our audience, how did you, what is in this mental health first aid toolkit box, for you? Maybe that's something that may resonate with certain people who are tuned in. And any strategies or any tips that you'd like to offer people on how can they think about what to add in this toolkit for themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a brilliant question. Well, so it takes a village to raise me. So the first thing I'll say is I really, truly, I am aware of what I need. And I trust that when certain books, movies, people, like healers, like when certain modalities and things come into my space a couple of times, I trust that. So I ask the universe, I meditate, I'm pretty spiritual, I'm woo-woo, I'm all those labels you want to put on me. I'm also super practical. I'm a teacher in the education space. I study science stuff. I listen to Joe Dispenza. So I try to have a really good balance of both of those things so I can speak to people who resonate with one or the other and kind of bridge that gap. So the first thing I would say is I trust that I have the answers in me, to find the process. Right. And so if you're someone that's sitting here and you're I really want to understand my process, ask yourself, say what could be really good for me right now? And it will start to come, your brain and your body will start to attract it. Now, if that doesn't resonate with you, I'll give you some really practical stuff. So first thing is, find a person that can support you. So even if it's friend, family, if you don't have the money and you're I don't want to pay for a healer or coach, anything, just go tell one person, this is where I'm struggling. This is where I need support. This is really uncomfortable for me to share this. I'm not usually the person who says this stuff out loud. Whatever it sounds like for you, just go find one person that that you can share it with, because it will feel so much better just getting it out of your body and out of your brain, right? Just saying it is important. I think it's also really important to write it down. Everything happens when you write, your unconscious is working through you and it's giving you messages. So go find one person. And then step 2, go just sit down and write in a journal for 15 minutes and try not to take your pen off the paper. It's called stream of consciousness writing or automatic writing. It makes your unconscious, when you don't stop writing and you don't pick the pencil up from the paper, it causes your unconscious to give you messages. Okay. Because you'll write stuff down that you didn't even know you were thinking or feeling. And you'll look at it and you'll be oh my God. And you'll figure stuff out. Okay. Then consider, do I want to spend money for this support or not? Right? Because healers and coaches and all those people, it does cost money and it is worth it. And you'll always find it. Generally, you can find it. So I get that sometimes it's not possible, but I was running my business and I ran into a woman who ended up being the first coach I ever paid for. And she gave me a discount because she cared about me and I paid for it and it was totally worth it. So finding my senses is just find support. And we have, we're here, we have resources and stuff. That's why we're doing this, right? That's why you're doing this, to give people resources. So really just find your person, find the person you're going to speak to. And then after that, I would say really understanding what the beliefs are in your head that are creating these feelings is so important. So it's called your blind spots, right? Your blind spots are those thoughts and limiting beliefs that are right in the background here. And they're shaping the lens that you look at life through. And they were created between 0 and 8. So it's not your fault you have them. These limiting beliefs were created when your brain was developing between 0 and 8. And the unfortunate thing about that is between 0 and 8, our brains are egocentric, which means that anything that happens that causes trauma, anything that happens that causes deep emotion, it is something you feel like you caused. Because between 0 and 8, your brain is egocentric, which means everything is about you. You don't have it. It's just the way our brains are. So if something traumatic happens, like a parent leaves, or you get abused, or just small stuff, like somebody's mean to you at school, or the teacher yells at you, anything that causes trauma in the body in that moment, you believe it's because it's your fault, because it's the way your brain works at that point. And then you catalog those, like that movie Inside Out. I don't know if you've seen it, but Inside Out talks, it's like a kid's movie, but it teaches about stuff in a really brilliant way. You catalog those beliefs, right? So I'll give an example. My dad left when I was 7. We have a good relationship now. It was a challenging moment at that time. He had to leave to deal with his own stuff. I created a belief around men leaving. And I'm not enough. Right? That's just me being really vulnerable here. Like I'm suggesting you be with somebody right now, those of you who are listening. I've worked through all that stuff, but that's a belief. That's a blind spot that shifts the lens that I look at life through, because it colors the lens that you look at life through, right? These beliefs. So once you take them from being blind spots, you put them in front of you, you're like, that's not real. I have 200 examples of that limiting belief not being real in my life. Right? Doesn't need to run the show anymore. So I think to sum up, I think first step is go find somebody, go tell somebody. Second step, what did I say? The second step was writing it down.
Yeah.
Third step is considering what those limiting beliefs are for you. And again, reach out to me. I'm happy to send resources around this stuff. I have questions that people can, kind of run through on their own too. Figure out what your limiting beliefs are, and then start meditating, because meditating changes everything. Sometimes it really is just that easy. Like go meditate for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. There's 3-minute ones. I started with a 3-minute meditation. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just going on and on. I'd hope that
No, it's great. Our audience is actually saying a lot. Thank you so much to Rishabh, actually on the back end, who's helping share some of the comments. We had some people saying true words. Thank you for sharing. Yes, we want to know more. That's amazing. Please go follow Natalie right now. That book sounds amazing. Can't wait to read it. That's so true. Learn your lessons in life and move on to the next thing. Absolutely. Yes, we'd love to read about your work. What is the thing I want to release? I love that. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. More comments coming in. I love that. Such an interesting way of looking at adversity. Natalie, for someone who struggles with living in the present, what tips would you give them to focus on the present and live in the now?
Oh, that's a great question. So this is generally a struggle for everyone. So you are not alone. That's the first thing to understand. As much as I struggle, as much as I teach this stuff, I mean, my boyfriend says this to me. He's like, you teach this stuff all day long. Why are we still navigating certain things? Right? Like I said, we teach best what we most need to learn. I have a very, I have struggled with it. So this is why I do this work. I would say, number one, you're not alone. We all struggle with this. Number two, the thing to do is to find yourself a YouTube meditation video that you enjoy and just wait for the magic to happen. Because when you meditate, you get that thoughts, speech, feelings in alignment. You get that energetic bubble coherent. So it feels calm and safe in your energetic bubble instead of wavy and anxious. And when you do it over a span of time, when you do that consistently for 21, 30 days, it becomes a part of a practice and a habit that you're used to and that you crave. And you will start to see certain moments where you're like, wow, I was just present for a long time there. Like you'll actually start to see the impact. It will take a little while, and you will feel calmer, you will feel clearer, and you will be able to navigate frustration, anxiety, and like decision making better. And there is a ton of science to support this. So if you need that kind of backup, just look it up. There's so much evidence to support it. It is not just woo-woo. The other thing I would say is the mantras and the affirmations. So I have affirmations up all over the place all the time. So I am happy, I am healthy, I am calm, I am peaceful, I am divine, I am feminine. Whatever the things are that you're trying to create and manifest in this moment, magic, trust, love. I've had these up for a year. I have a one word bracelet that my friend Chris Pan, it's his company. Magic is on my wrist. I see it every day. I have a necklace that helps me breathe because I'm on client calls all day and I get stressed too. So you breathe into this and it helps the body get coherent too. So it's just strategies that are simple.
Yeah.
Everything.
Incredible. And I second that. For me personally, I indulged in meditation, like took it seriously when I myself was getting mentored by my mentor, Jack Canfield. He's the author of Chicken Soup.
That's who your mentor is?
Yes, that's it. Actually, give me a second. I'm just going to show you something.
Kidding.
No, I'm not. This right here is a book that I co-authored with him. Whoa. Jack Canfield.
Whoa, we've got so many synchronicities happening. It's not even funny. Tell me this rest.
I wrote a chapter in this book. We co-authored it with 10 other people. And this book hit Amazon's bestseller within 24 hours on launch. It was so meant to be.
Goodness.
But when I was it was an amazing experience. I'm so honored for that opportunity. When I started meditating, first time was with him when he was leading the class of 50 students. And I was the youngest student in the class at that time. And I remember, first 3 days, I would open my eyes and look around and ask, where am I? Why did I get myself into this? But eventually, after the third day, on the fourth day, I told myself, Aanchal, self-talk, like live while it was happening. I was like, why am I the only one that finds this funny? No one in this room, and they're all successful people. How come no one in this room is smiling or laughing? It's just me. So I told myself, keep your eyes closed and just go through it. Even if you're distracted, that's okay.
Yeah.
And when I opened my eyes, I had tears running down my cheeks. I wasn't crying.
Wow.
But it was in that moment, for the very first time in my life, I think I felt chill, inner chill, like peace. Beautiful. I had never experienced that. And so the next day came, and yes, I was distracted. My mind was deviating, but I would bring my attention back to my breath and just notice how I'm breathing. And over, like I practice every day. Something changed within me that I just can't explain to people. Now when I'm trying to promote the importance and the power of meditation, even in my community, I find it's really hard for me to show them the benefits, even when I'm so excited and telling them, hey, this is what I've experienced, and I still do. 5 minutes of meditation is truly all it takes sometimes in real time.
So I totally agree with all of you, and with everything you just said, and I have to just add, like, the synchronicity here. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about when you like synchronicities and paying attention to the universe. So I just reposted an old memory of a photo of me and Jack Canfield from an event I went to today, like an hour before I got on this call. It just popped up on my feed. And I was going to share when you said, about the book, have you written, in similar to what your story is, I read the Success Principles, which is right here, one of my favorite books, Jack Canfield's Success Principles. And I manifested the opportunity to teach at UCSD the pursuit of happiness. I did the exercises in this book, and 90 days later, this is what showed up. And I went to an event, and Jack Canfield was there, and I told him the story. And he was just a wonderful, lovely human. And he said, I am creating a book of stories around how Success Principles has supported people at some point, and write that story. And so I wrote that story, and he has been I just think it's funny that you have actually done that. And I just posted it before this call. This is how we're all connected. And his books have been the first personal development experience I've ever had was with Jack Canfield. Like when I was 18, it's the first book I read, and so really huge figure in my journey. And so guys, if you're listening, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, like please go, this book is a game changer, and the book you're in, I'm sure is
Yes.
also the same. So really brilliant. The other thing
It's a,
yeah.
yeah, sorry. I'm actually certified to teach that book.
Are you? This book is incredible. I
It's
teach the chapter 6
incredible.
Sparkle stuff to everybody. It's a part of my practice with my students and my clients, and it's part of built in with the affirmations and manifestation process I do. And this book is like totally giving credit for all of it. So yeah, really brilliant. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Sorry, you were saying.
Oh, I was just going to add one last thing that we had briefly chatted about too, is in that process of tools and things, is I would also just say, I spent, as I said in my journey in the beginning of the story, like I spent 12 years on Lexapro. I was on, antidepressants for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I will say is it's a great drug. It really helps you, from, in my experience, like when a thought's coming through that you don't want to like hold and analyze and obsess over, which is stuff I struggle with, you can actually put it down. And so for people that are really deeply struggling and you're afraid to do any kind of that action, I think, again, going and telling somebody that you really trust and being vocal about it is a really important part. And if you're in a suicidal space, medicine could really be a huge help for a certain gap of time, 6 months, whatever. And then putting
Yeah.
these stuff and then putting this kind of stuff in practice. I always just want to add, I stayed, in my experience of it, I was on it for too long and I got disconnected from my emotions, and in a sense, and I had to relearn a lot of that stuff at a much older age. So I always share that because while I think they're valuable, I think it's really important to say there's a lot of other tools and people and modalities and things that are coming to light more in 2021, and a combined effort of those two, like really consider doing both and don't just rely on the quick fix, like really do the work for both. And put a time limit on it so that you can stay connected to your spirit and your emotions, and not just shut it off. Does it make sense?
Yes, absolutely. That must have taken a lot of strength and perseverance, when you decided that you don't want to be on this drug anymore and navigate to a holistic healing,
Yep.
natural holistic healing. How
Yeah.
was that process like?
It was crazy. It was really nutty. Like coming off of those drugs when you've been on it for 12 years, it was a 6-month process of weaning off them physically. Like I could feel like anger would just like bubble up inside of me and come out. And I would literally be yelling and I wouldn't know why. And I would say to people like my roommate at the time, like, I'm really sorry. I don't know what's happening right now. Like you kind of lose, in my experience of it, right? It might not be this way for everybody. In my experience of it, it was a really intense process. And so I just always like to share both sides of that coin. I think it's my responsibility to say, yes, it helped, and wish I would have been more aware that there's so many other things out there to help too. Because it's much
Yes.
easier to take a pill. It's like way easy to take a pill, but there's
Yeah.
there's a cause and effect of everything. So just
Yeah.
good to come back to balance and keep asking yourself that question, like, how do I find balance here? How do I take ownership for my own health? How do I navigate mental, physical, spiritual, emotional all together? Do I need to work out more? Do I need to move my body more? Where am I breathing? Is it always is it shallow breath? Am I ever taking deep breaths? Am I getting good sleep? Like really trying to find the holistic balance is going to be better for your body, because chemicals and synthetic drugs are okay when you need them, but long term, we don't know.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Absolutely. And also, yeah, research has shown that medication for mental health problems or illnesses, they help to a great extent for short-term recovery, but not for long-term recovery.
Right.
Because if what works the best for long-term recovery is being on taking medication for what you're experiencing while you're still seeking either professional help like counseling or therapy, so you can alter the behaviors that caused you to feel like this. And that's exactly what, in a way, you're talking about, is when you decided that you wanted to go off it. Yeah, there was a bit of healing where your body was trying to express itself, trying to release what was suppressed in a way, but you continue to do that inner work, right? And you continue to find and navigate that, which is incredible. How is the quality of your life today as compared to back then?
It was a process. it was a process. It's much better now because I understand my own power. So the process and the work is worth it, because when you are in alignment, you can manifest whatever you want. So when you are in power, like empowered by your own inner power, okay? Like you're really clear that when I think something and I speak something, it's going to show up because of the laws of the universe and energy and quantum physics and all these things that are science based. You can go, okay, I am really powerful, and you have a different level of control over your life than you do when you're on synthetic meds. A lot of people that go on synthetic meds are because they're scared of being out of control. A lot of us are depressed or anxious because we're afraid to be out of control. But imagine a world in which you are still in control, but from a powerful place, not a fear-based place. The powerful place is going to manifest a lot more good stuff than I'm taking this because I'm just scared. You know, that like sort of feeling that you get where you're constricted or you're heavy in your chest, or wherever pain bodies show up in your body. Some people have migraines, some people have low back pain. It just depends. But like, imagine feeling free and peaceful and calm and stating, I'm control of my world from that place. Not from I need and I want and I'm scared, but just from like, I'm open and I'm receptive. And I know that when I speak something, it comes into existence in the perfect timing. Like, I just know, I can feel that. I'm grounded in it. And again, I struggled with this all the time. So this is just something I have learned over practice over years and years. And I still fall in those cocoon moments because it's just part of life. So just don't shame, don't resent, like don't shame yourself. I feel like all this stuff, so much of it comes from shaming ourselves, and it just doesn't need to be, even though it feels like it in the moment.
Yeah, I think that happens often from like our own limited beliefs about ourselves. Maybe it was imposed by our parents, our upbringing, which brings me to a question that someone from the audience just asked.
Yeah.
Natalie, how can I recognize what my limiting beliefs are? I know I have so many, but how do I recognize them in real time? How do I recognize when I establish them in the first place?
That's great. Wow. Whoa. Way big, awesome question. I would do this in 3 steps. It's a much bigger question, but I'll try to give you something you can walk away with right now. So the first thing is, you want to pick one of those moments where you're like, I can't believe I'm here again. Because those moments that trigger you, that make you angry, that make you go from like 0 to 10 like that, where you like become a different version of you and you don't even know how you got there, that's a core wound. That's a trigger. So that's one of those beliefs where it's like, where did I come up with this in the first place that you're asking? So you want to go like, okay, let me think about one of those narratives, one of those moments where I go from 0 to 10. Think about what I'm really angry about in those moments. And you have to keep asking yourself why. And that gets to the underneath of it. And you say, when was the first time I felt this way? So I'll model it really quick so you can get the feeling for it. Is that okay if I just do that really quick? I know we're hitting time. So I'll get really angry when I feel like someone is wasting my time. And it looks like if I'm on the phone, like let's say to HealthNet or something, like my insurance company, and they've billed me for 2 months when I'm not a member anymore, right? And I'm on the phone like 2 or 3 hours trying to save $200, and it's like ridiculous. And it feels like someone's wasting my time, right? And I get very angry in an experience like that, like to a version of myself I really don't appreciate. And I go, okay, why am I feeling this way right now? Well, I feel like someone's wasting my time. Well, why does that matter? Because it feels like I'm not being valued. Well, why? Well, it feels like someone's diminishing me. It feels like someone's not paying attention. What is it? So why? And then the first time I felt that way, well, when my father was, when he left, he would have me show up to places and then he would never show up. So he would ask my mom to drop me off and then he would never show up. And then my time would be wasted. And so every time I feel like my time is being wasted, gets me back to that core wound of that moment, of that inner child that feels like I'm being abandoned. Right? But it's not real. No one's wasting my time. It's just another call that someone's like doesn't understand the information they need to understand. They're not trying to harm me. It's not a waste of my time. No one's abandoning me. No one's leaving me. It's not a big deal. And now, so I've worked through all my stuff with my father. I have brilliant, it's all good relationships with him. And anyway, point is that that's all part of it too, forgiving, accepting, releasing, all that stuff. But and also recognizing that all the stuff that happened to us between 0 and 8, all the stuff that causes these limiting beliefs, these traumas in our life, they are part of the life lesson journey, right? They were classrooms that we were in. And so the quicker we can just accept them for, oh, these were the classrooms and these were the teachers, and it may not have been fair and it might have been horrific and I shouldn't have gone through it. Like, it was part of that journey. And so how do I turn that into the light, right? How do I turn it over? Coming back to that law of duality, because being angry and frustrated and resentful, it really only hurts you. And as much as we hate to hear that phrase when we're angry, it's the truth. It is the truth. You know,
it also has a physical reaction in our body where we get physically weaker.
Yes.
Yeah. This was fantastic. Thank you so much, Natalie, for being here and sharing all this. I know, for all this wisdom. This was amazing. Are you on Clubhouse by any chance?
You know, it's really funny. I work for this brilliant team that is helping in a healing space with CBD, and I'm coach for the team. And one of the David Metzler's on there, and he tells me this all the time. He's one of my favorite light worker leaders that I work for, and he's on there. And so I'm hearing from coaches and people that are brilliant in my life that it's like the most brilliant place to be. And I'm on there, but I'm not speaking.
Just got on it.
Well,
sorry,
I am on it, and you can find me on my name. I just haven't spoken a ton yet. I've just been doing stuff. So
that's okay. We'd love to invite you whenever. We host them every Monday for a meditation session, and every Wednesday. It's an educational talk every Wednesday where we just come together and share our expertise, our wisdom, our experiences. So I'll just make sure to ping you.
Please do. Yeah, I'm on there and I'd love to be a part of it. I would like to get back or get more into the Clubhouse world. So yeah, I'm in.
Done. Excellent. This was a fantastic talk. Thank you so much, Natalie. Once again, before we wrap up, what is the one message that you'd like to leave people with? Perhaps someone that's tuned in right now and they're not feeling very good.
Let me breathe into that for a moment. I think the message that I want you to take is this is just a moment in time. This is just a moment in time. It is just a cocoon moment, and you have every ability to turn this darkness into the light. Really, truly, I really believe that.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And lastly, do you know what this hand symbol represents? It goes like this, like two fists put together.
Is it for one of the chakras, like one of mudras or something? I don't know. Tell me.
This actually in sign language means together.
Oh, beautiful.
This is the logo at Reach Out Together. We use the color orange because orange in color healing therapy, it brings out feelings of warmth and happiness. And we put a circle around the logo to symbolize the world. So our goal at Reach Out Together is to heal the world, conversation by conversation, community by community. And I really believe what we did here today was that. We held a conversation, talked about difficult things from our past to heal the world together. So thank you so much for your time, Natalie. You were incredible. And I'm really excited to continue this journey of raising mental health awareness together.
Absolutely. 100% right back at you. Please reach out if you guys need anything. I'm happy to support in any way that I can.
Beautiful. Thank you. This is a wrap. For everyone else that's tuned in, I have a gift for you till the very end, just because you stuck around till the very end. Like I mentioned earlier, that I published this book on January 23rd of 2020. And within 24 hours, this book became Amazon's bestseller in 2 different categories. Now, I wrote a chapter in this book, and thankfully, this chapter won the Editor's Choice Award from the publishing company based out of Los Angeles. Like Natalie mentioned earlier, there's a phase when you're writing and unconsciously you're just writing things. And I think I was actually in that phase of mine, where within 45 minutes, I wrote this chapter when I was on a flight to California from Toronto. And before that, everything else I had written was something that I have read before, I've heard about before. I completely scrapped that. And whatever I've written here is something I truly believe in, with all my heart. And it's something that has helped me show up here, show up in the world, and continue to do the things that I do. So I want to encourage you to send me an email at aanchal@reachouttogether.com. And my team is going to send you a free digital copy of my excerpt from this book, completely free of cost. And I promise you, you are going to feel slightly better, slightly different. It's going to shift something within you. And I promise you that. So feel free to send that email once again at aanchal@reachouttogether.com. If you have a mental health story to share, whether that's lived experience or professional experience, we want to hear from you. Send our team an email at ankita@reachouttogether.com, and we will send you a speaker application form to fill out and take it from there. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in to season 2's episode 1. Thank you so much, Natalie. Have a fantastic rest of the day.
Ciao.
Bye.